Daenerys Targaryen arrived in Westeros with 3 full-grown dragons and thousands of soldiers, holding a massive military advantage over the Lannisters. Her advisors agreed on a singular target to break the Lannister resistance, Casterly Rock. They believed taking the geographic center of their enemy's power would end the war quickly. Carved directly into a coastal mountain, Casterly Rock was a fortress built into solid stone. For centuries, its position above the Sunset Sea made it a symbol of total Lannister dominance. The high seaside cliffs and layers of fortified stone meant a traditional siege was out of the question. A direct assault would cost Daenerys a significant portion of her army before they even reached the gates. To take the castle, Daenerys had to find a way to conquer a fortress that appeared to be immune to outside force. Tyrion Lannister stepped forward to propose an alternative. Rather than trying to break the walls, he looked for a way to bypass them entirely. Tyrion had grown up in the Rock, giving him an intimate understanding of the castle's layout, including the parts of the architecture that the Lannister architects hadn't bothered to fortify. This diagram shows the hidden sewer system Tyrion had designed as a young man. It was a subterranean pathway that led from the sea directly into the heart of the fortress, completely bypassing the outer defenses. This shifted the entire operation from a massive, bloody frontal assault to a precision stealth mission. The Unsullied wouldn't need to break the mountain, they just had to walk under it. Tyrion's plan relied on finding the one silent vulnerability in an otherwise perfect defense. The Unsullied moved through the dark stone corridors in silence, reaching the castle's interior without ever facing the massive defenses on the cliffs above. Once inside, the strike force quickly overwhelmed the internal guards and opened the main gates. This neutralized every physical advantage the fortress possessed. Within hours, Casterly Rock, a castle never before taken in battle, fell to Daenerys' forces. It appeared to be a decisive triumph of tactical ingenuity over centuries of military engineering. But the victory felt wrong. The Unsullied captured the Rock far too easily, and the Lannister garrison was suspiciously small. The lack of resistance was a choice. Jaime and Cersei calculated that the castle itself was less important than the army inside it. Jaime didn't even try to hold the Rock. He quietly abandoned his ancestral home long before the first Unsullied soldier ever entered the hidden sewers. While the Unsullied took the castle, Jaime marched the main Lannister army in the opposite direction. Daenerys inadvertently isolated her best infantry on the map's far edge. They were stuck guarding an empty castle, while the Lannisters seized a greater objective. The Lannisters transformed their seat of power into a strategic sinkhole, designed to lure an army into a corner of the continent where they couldn't influence the rest of the war. Jaime's real target was Highgarden, the agricultural heart of Westeros and the primary source of food for the realm. Daenerys gained a symbolic victory at Casterly Rock, but the Lannisters gained something tangible. This flowchart shows the resources the Lannisters secured. By taking Highgarden, they gained the grain to feed their city and the gold to pay for their armies and debts. Securing Highgarden's resources provided the Lannisters with the material wealth and logistics needed to sustain a long-term war effort. Tyrion's plan failed because it was built on an emotional assumption. He believed Cersei would defend their childhood home at any cost, simply because of its history. Cersei, however, viewed the castle as a liability. She was willing to sacrifice her own legacy to ensure she had the resources to survive the next phase of the war. The Lannisters used Tyrion's knowledge of the Rock against him. They anticipated his move and turned his infiltration into a diversion that worked in their favor. By the time the Unsullied breached the walls, they had already been sidelined. The Lannisters didn't just survive the loss of their home. They used the infiltration to remove Daenerys' best fighters from the map while they repositioned for a much larger prize.